It's time. We are covering everything you need to know about scholarships and financial aid if your plan is to come to the US either for an undergraduate or graduate degree. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Saloni. I've done my research at Harvard. I've graduated from Cornell with a master's degree. And in this Road to Success series, we break down in each episode what it actually takes in order for you to get into your dream university and the stressful parts about getting scholarships and financial aid. Because guess what? For the last 3 years that I've been kind of doing these scholarship videos, I've noticed that a lot of students forget that applying to scholarships and financial aid needs to happen at the time of your college application and not afterwards. We're going to break the video down into two parts. The first part is going to be for high school and gap year students that are applying for an undergraduate level degree. And the second part is going to be for those students that are aiming at applying for a graduate degree, so master's and PhD. So let's start out with high schoolers who have high hopes and dreams of studying in the US for free. For a change, I have just good news for you guys that it is actually possible to get a full ride scholarship in a US university. I have interviewed so many students on this channel, and you've probably seen around in the news that US colleges offer full support to some brilliant students. I hope you didn't ignore the fact that I said some. Let's break down the two types of scholarships that international students are eligible for. The first type is merit-based scholarships. Now, it's important to note that in order to apply for these scholarships, it has to be done at the time of the college application itself. In most cases, you won't need to write or submit any external application, but there are some universities that ask for like a short essay to be considered for this merit scholarship. Now, as the name suggests, it's merit-based. So what exactly does that mean? It looks into the student's academic aptitude and performance. So things like high school score, AP exam scores, SAT scores, ACT scores, these things matter. What doesn't matter here is your TOEFL score or any other language proficiency, and extracurricular activities kind of take somewhat of a back seat when it comes to merit-based scholarships. Next, if you are receiving a merit-based scholarship, you will know in your acceptance letter itself. It'll either read merit scholarship, presidential scholarship, or founder scholarship. These are some common terms that are associated with merit-based scholarship. And the cool thing is, in most cases, it is renewable each year as long as you keep your grades high up. Now, with the merit scholarship, the only downside is there are very few cases, and actually, in most cases, it's almost impossible to get up to 100% merit scholarship. I've usually seen like $5,000 to $10,000. If there's like a brilliant student, that student may get like $20,000 per year. So that kind of brings up the question that what exactly do colleges then offer to actually accommodate for that 100% scholarship? And that brings us to the second part, which is need-based financial aid. This is often overlooked by international students because there is a separate application associated with this, which is called the CSS profile. Now, this separate application is something that universities will not tell you to submit because obviously they don't want to highlight financial aid. So what happens is when you submit your college application, you should be submitting the CSS profile along with the college applications, although they have a separate deadline of their own. Each college will have two deadlines, application deadline and a CSS profile deadline. So make sure you kind of look into both of those things. The CSS profile accounts for all of your family's income. So that can be how much are your parents earning, what are your household expenses, how many siblings do you have, what are your assets, what are your liabilities, and based on all of this, each college financial aid office judges how much need-based financial aid they should give you. So this whole process is twofold. College admissions will first look at your application and then they will look at your financial aid profile. If you are not a good student, they won't even consider the aid part. So remember, as long as you have a strong profile, first your chances of getting into that college need to matter, and then the need-based financial aid come into the picture. I've seen a lot of students just blindly applying to Ivy Leagues, like all 8 of them, in the hope that they're going to be getting financial aid, but they often forget that they first have to have a strong profile to be accepted by the university. Now, of course, if we leave the top 20 and Ivy Leagues away, there are mid-tier and low-tier universities that also offer need-based financial aid, but there is one huge disadvantage to this whole system, which is need-blind and need-aware universities. Now, need-blind universities don't care if you're asking for aid. They just care about what your profile looks like. And then if you get in, they're happy to give you as much aid as you need. Most of the top colleges are need-blind. However, more than 90% of the colleges in the US are need aware, which means that the minute you ask for need-based financial aid and submit your CSS profile with your college application to that particular college, they will first see this student is asking for aid, and then they'll also keep that in their mind when they're trying to accept you or reject you. And one of the reasons they reject you could be that you have asked for aid. That means that they are need aware. So remember, if you're building your college list, it's probably good to have a mixture of maybe mid-tier universities that are need blind than having all of your universities that are need aware, which is going to be a huge disadvantage for you. Now, submitting your CSS profile is not free. It costs $25 to submit for one college and then $16 per additional college. But remember, treat this as an investment. And the most important thing and key takeaway here is that oftentimes when you see news about students that received 100% scholarship, it is a mixture of merit scholarship plus need-based scholarship. There are very few cases that either or will be 100%. So if there's a brilliant student, he or she may receive $20,000 per year of merit scholarship and $50,000 per year of need-based, which in total accounts for $70,000 per year that covers the entire tuition and maybe even some living expenses. Now, the whole application process in general can be extremely overwhelming, and I've created a step-by-step guide on how to apply to colleges. The course is taught by me with over 30 recorded videos, all guiding you through how to create a college list, to the application process, to how you fill out different aspects, how your essays should be, what you need to do after submitting it, applying for financial aid, everything covered. There are assignments, there are free templates, there are 2 group live sessions where you can interact with me, get your profiles reviewed, get your questions answered about your essays. It's perfect for anyone, whether you're an undergrad, master's, or a PhD applicant looking to apply to the US this year or next year. It is a tremendous amount of information, all streamlined and put in an organized way so you can follow along step by step and apply to colleges in the US. Now let's talk about graduate programs, specifically master's programs that are industry-based. Now I have some bad news for you guys. Unfortunately, like 90% of the programs in the US that are masters are like Master of Engineering, or they're like these 1-year aggressive programs. Unfortunately, they are not eligible and do not provide financial aid to international students. There aren't even merit-based scholarships available. It's just straight up, you get in, you pay the tuition fee, and you get your degree. There are very few exceptions out there, but I would see this as a silver lining. For example, NYU provides like a $7.5 thousand merit scholarship on their $50,000 tuition, which isn't too significant, but they're giving something at least. And then we have Dartmouth College, which is the only Ivy League that provides up to 50% need-based financial aid through the CSS profile for master's students. Amid all of this bad news, I do have a couple options for those of you that want to pursue your master's. There are cheaper colleges available whose tuition fee in general is slightly less compared to the general market rate, which is over $50,000 per year. Now, these colleges typically tend to be in like upstate New York, Texas-based universities where the cost of living is lower compared to other big metro cities in the US, maybe some state colleges as well. With all of this, a few other options that are available to master's students include exploring maybe a thesis-based master's. So instead of doing like a professional master's, which is 1 year, you could do a Master of Science or Master of Applied Science, which is 2 year, that involves you to do some sort of a thesis. The advantage to this is within your thesis, you'll become a research assistant. That is a paid position. So you'll get your experience, you're working on your thesis, you're getting lab work and being mentored by a professor. On top of that, you're getting some amount of stipend. Now, of course, this isn't good to hold you over for your entire master's or cover the entire tuition fee, but I think master's students get anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000 per year, so at least their living expense is taken care of. The last option is a TA, which is teaching assistantship. So you can teach undergraduate courses and you have to apply to these after you actually come on campus. So you cannot do this ahead of time like when you're applying to the colleges or even after you've been accepted. Most of the TA and RA positions are limited to on-campus students only, and it's very, very competitive. I actually, when I was in Cornell, tried to get a TA and an RA. I could not. The competition was just so fierce and I just didn't make it through. So again, the TA and RA positions are good to have, but it's not something that you can readily rely upon, and you have to be okay with the fact that you may not get it. So what I eventually resorted to was on-campus jobs. These are per hour jobs that aren't like, I guess, the highest paying, but again, something is better than nothing. International students are able to work for up to 20 hours per week on campus. So you can get like a job at a reception at the gym. I used to referee football matches. I was also working in the kitchen, the dining hall, which was like the worst. I think I quit after 2 months, but I think I made like pasta and sushi rolls for a lot of the undergrad students. So those kind of on-campus jobs are easy to get, and there are tons of those on campus. The only thing is you get really tired and it's not really adding too much experience on your resume that is academic related. With this, we move on to PhD applicants. In the US, all PhDs are fully funded, which means that 1, you should not be paying a tuition fee if you're trying to get a PhD, and 2, in return, you actually get a stipend. Now, typically that stipend is like maybe $30,000–$40,000 per year. It can be even more if you are in a top 20 college. The best part of all of this is that most of the PhD programs now don't even require you to have a master's degree. So bachelor students, after they've graduated, are eligible to apply directly for a PhD. In fact, I did this, and this was like many years ago, and I even got into UC Merced for a fully funded PhD. So this is another way, if cost is a really big barrier for you to study in the US, getting a PhD is like the best way to go about it. For those of you that are serious about applying for the fall 2025 intake, I have great news. The Road to Success mentorship is open, and it is an application-based mentorship. So those of you that are selected, maybe like 5 students, will work for 1 month on all parts of the application. You'll be guided through shortlisting colleges, your essays, activities, resumes, even the CSS profile, financial aid, scholarships, everything. So 1 month, you're basically getting all of this information and working alongside peers. So the link is going to be in the description below. You can check it out. Remember, it is application based, so there are going to be very few students that are selected. That's all that I had for this video. This entire series is going to be packed with information, whether you're trying to apply to a top university or basically anyone for an undergrad, grad, or PhD degree. And for those of you that are sticking around till this point, we have a, year-long tradition at this point where I ask a random question at the end of each video to confuse everyone in the comment section that come like 6 months later. So for this video, the random question is, what is your favorite Indian street food? Just put that name down below. For me, for the longest time, it was Pani Puri, but lately it's been shifted to Dahi Puri, and I just absolutely love it. We go to these restaurants, and of course, they're super expensive here in the US. We end up spending like $10–15 per plate. Just no regrets. So put yours in the comment below. Like the video, let's kind of get it to 500 likes. I mean, this is like the start of our series, which is so popular. You guys absolutely love it. So let's get it to 500 likes to keep me motivated to make more informative videos like this for you guys. And subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.